Good evening, everyone. My name is Alexis Carderon. I'm a senior staff attorney at the New York Civil Liberties Union, and I wanted to be here tonight to share a little bit about what the New York Civil Liberties Union does generally on police issues, in particular what we're doing on stop and frisk. So first of all, I think just about everybody probably has in their chairs these cards, what to do if you're stopped by the police, which echo some of the advice you heard from the Legal Aid Society. And these are cards we make available to people, and particularly groups that are organizing, community groups, particularly young groups. We like to put on Know Your Rights trainings and that kind of thing. So pick up this card tonight, and if you're interested in having a Know Your Rights training that will be led by an organizer from our office, let us know, because it's really important to go out to forums like this and to hear what people have to say and what their experience in stop and frisk. The other thing is, I'm glad someone mentioned taking out their phone and filming stops on the street and intervening with cops. And we thought that was a good idea too. So we have an app, and it's called Stop and Frisk Watch. And it's available on Android phones, it's available on iPhones, and you can download that app, and it makes it really easy to film the police. And if the police try to interfere, it automatically gets sent off to our office. And it's a really valuable tool to make sure that people can hold the police accountable. And it's absolutely your right to do that. Unfortunately, sometimes the police don't think so. I have a client right now, right here from Bed-Stuy, who she was witnessing a stop on her street of 3 young men on her street, and she asked what was going on, and the cops came up to her and told her to back away, back away. She backed away, but she pulled out her phone to film it, and they ended up putting her in handcuffs and taking her off to the 79th precinct, and then held her and gave her a summons for disorderly conduct. But that got tossed out, and now we're in court representing her and hoping we get her a good result. And then very quickly, I just wanted to talk about lawsuits, because I know a lot of people are interested in lawsuits when their rights are violated by stop and frisk practices. And that's that I really appreciate what Councilman Barron said about lawsuits not being enough, and that we have to have community response as well. But lawsuits, I think, do have their place, so I just wanted to tell people really briefly about a couple of big lawsuits that are going on. One is a class action that was brought by our office, which is about a program called Operation Clean Halls, sometimes also called the Trespass Affidavit Program, or TAP, or FTAP. And there are a lot of buildings in this neighborhood, I live in this neighborhood too, that are enrolled in the program. And the idea behind it is that police officers are able to go in and stop illegal activity, whether it's people doing drugs or engaging in crime of some kind. And it's not a bad idea in concept, except that a lot of NYPD officers haven't been trained right about it, and sometimes their supervisors are telling them to do things that they're not supposed to do, like go into the building and stop everybody coming in and out, people checking their mail, people taking out their garbage, and people who are getting arrested for trespassing in their own homes, who are getting stopped on suspicion of trespassing in their own homes. And so we brought a case to challenge that, and we had a hearing about that last fall. Then also right now, another really big case is going on, I hope people have heard about it this week in the news, it's called Floyd versus City of New York. And this is a class action lawsuit challenging stop and frisk generally across the whole city. And I've been sitting in a trial for the last couple days, and I have to tell you, it's really inspiring to hear people come forward and share their stories about being stopped. Someone broke down on the stand yesterday talking about a time he was illegally stopped when he just went out to go to the bodega to get some milk for his younger brothers and sister. So it's a really powerful case, and I would encourage people to come down if they have time to the federal courthouse in Manhattan. That's at 500 Pearl Street. It's open to the public. Of course, they don't let you bring your phone in and that kind of thing. You have to check it at the front. But just to kind of go hear what people are saying about it is really important. And I want people to know too that, we criticize the police frequently. I spend most of my time working on lawsuits against the police. But there are actually some cops who are also coming forward. So today there was an officer testifying, Officer Polanco, who worked at the 41st Precinct in the Bronx. And he talked about the fact that he didn't become a cop so he could just be stopping everybody. He became a cop because he wanted to help people. And in his precinct, they had a quota where they had to issue 20 summonses a month and do 1 arrest a month. And he had supervisors who were going around and telling him, go stop those kids, go 250 those kids, go give summonses to those kids. And it happened over and over again. And he complained about it, and of course they suspended him and were trying to get him out of the police department, but he still came forward today. And another officer did too. So I want people to know these lawsuits are going on, and lawsuits aren't always a great solution to these problems, but we think they're an important part. Thank you.
What's amazing to me, since 2007, this city has spent $654 million settling suits against the New York City Police Department. $654 million. That's child care, that's after school programs, that's summer employment programs, that's housing. We are investing. We are investing in a criminal enterprise against us. And it is our responsibility to be informed about it, because that's our money. Those are our tax dollars, $654 million. It's our responsibility to be informed about it and to figure out what to do to hold our elected officials accountable. We're going to ask some questions. There are a couple people also that who are representing our community. And let me say this, just like Councilman Barron, I am incredibly hopeful, because I do believe that there is a groundswell, that people are hearing our voices, that our elected officials are showing up on this, but they can't show up on it by themselves. They need to have the masses of people to force them to stay the course. And we have some great folks in our community who are also supporting these conversations. Dr. Kim Best, who's the president of 79th Precinct Community Council, who's here tonight. Ed Brown, who's the president of Ingersoll Whitman Tenants Association. Henry Butler, the chairman of Community Board 3. Is that Community Board 3. Jelani Mashariki from Black Vets for Social Justice. Michael Smith, who's representing Assemblymember Annette Robinson. Lee Church, who's representing Congressman Hakeem Jeffrey. And Alfred Chiodo, who's representing Councilmember Letitia James. We particularly want people to hear the questions that are going to be asked and the stories that people are going to tell, so that that can inform the work that you do when you get in that the legislative chamber. Are you ready? 1 minute? We got 1 minute. I've asked also, so we're going to start with Pastor Naron Tillman, who's the Citizens Committed to Change. The executive board member is going to respond to some of these presentations that were made tonight in 1 minute.
Good evening, everyone. She said 1 minute, and then she said quick, so that means like 30 seconds. So with the problem, I'm 37 years old. I'm a lifelong New Yorker. I grew up in Rockaway, Queens, and for these projects. And one of the biggest components that we have to do as a people is not just to hold the police accountable, but to hold our elected officials accountable. Not only hold our elected officials accountable, but to hold our pastors accountable. Not only hold our pastors accountable, but to hold our young people accountable. Because our brain is formulated to hold on to negative energy. And when we enter these forums with negative energy, and we come together, we have so much pent-up anger because of the injustice that's been going on. So negative fuel negativity. And the media captures our negativity. So the only thing that people would see is us coming together yelling, arguing, fighting. It's not that we don't have a position. It's not that we haven't been unjust. It's the fact that we have to speak intelligently. We have to organize. We have to come together and hold our people accountable. We are the judges of our own community. We can't let anyone come inside and judge us. We have to set up our own gates. We have to set up our own judges. But then we have to hold each other accountable. It's one thing for us to say when injustices are happening, but it's another thing when injustices happen and we don't speak to them. Because now we're equally as wrong as those who are, we don't snitch, I can't say nothing, that's my man. But then when we are impacted from our silence, when we are impacted from our silence, doesn't make it right. But we're not judging each other. So how do we now formulate pockets of judgment that we can hold each other accountable? So that's what I want to do. I'm a young pastor, 37 years old, but I'm out in the street. I'm trying to help out. But I'm trying to help out in an intelligent way. I don't want to argue and fight. I want to come up with strategy so that we can be sound in our judgment, so that we can go to the precincts and hold these police officers accountable. And when you're behind us, our leaders, our elected officials, when you're behind us, we're strong because we got 200-300 people that are intelligent, saying the same thing, moving in the same direction, pushing towards the same goal. That's to get social equality, and justice for each and every one of us. Good night. I love you.
Thank you, sir. And before I ask our next person to come up, I'm going to ask us to think about the question or the story that we want to share, because we're going to begin forming our line while our folks are still here, so that you can do that. We're going to come out into this aisle to stand with the microphone so that your voice can be heard. But I ask the next, Wayne Devenish from 500 Men Making a Difference.